Wrath Unleashed was a game I remember seeing for the first time around a friend's house when I was a little kid. I remember loving the game so much, but I can't remember why. So I went to my parents, and me being the little dick that I was, I immediately badgered them for a copy for my Xbox. We couldn't find it anywhere in any kind of shop, so we had to order it from eBay. It must have been a rare game or something, but I've never really not heard much about it, and I find that strange because it was made by LucasArts, so I would have thought it would have been a bit more, at least known. I think one of the reasons I liked this game was because of the intro. It just drew me in, and it looks awesome.
In the beginning, there was only darkness. Then light shone in the void, and a new world was born. A realm forged from the elemental forces of earth, wind, water, and fire. The nexus of an eternal war waged between the forces of light and darkness, between chaos and order, which destroy the world in a mighty cataclysm. Unto this broken realm came the overlords. Beautiful Aina, goddess of the waters, the steadfast purity of crashing waves and thundering waterfalls. Fiery Epothas, warrior of the rising sun. Volatile guardian of the sacred flames. Devious Durlock, master of metals and lord of stone. Keeper of the secrets of the earth. And wicked Helamis, queen of storms and chaos, mother of hurricanes, leaving havoc and destruction in her wake. Now the mightiest of the overlords prepare for the ultimate confrontation. The time has come for the wrath of the gods to be unleashed.
The gameplay is sort of like a mix between a fighting game like Soul Calibur or Street Fighter and chess. In a normal game mode, you're given a map of hexagonal tiles just floating in the middle of space. There are different maps and they can vary in difficulty and a different kind of strategy you have to use, some having gaps in the middle of the map and some not. The game takes turns, and on your turn you move one of your monsters or use a spell or some other ability. If a unit stops on the same tile as an enemy unit, they battle like they would in a normal fighter. Different creatures have different stats, such as more health or more magic, and they all have different special abilities and unique attacks. The creature you have depends on your faction, and there are 4 in the game. Light Order, Dark Order, Light Chaos, and Dark Chaos, which for some reason translates as water, fire, earth, and wind. Each faction is represented by a demigod, which doesn't wear much, by the way, as it goes. Fire and water have the same kind of creatures, the same with earth and wind. That's the whole order and chaos thing going on. The lower level monsters are just recolours of each other, and the higher level monsters are equivalents of the same sort of thing. I want to point out some things about these creatures though. I've already mentioned that the demigods don't wear much, or just look at the water and wind demigods. The wind demigod is literally groping herself at all times. I'm a little bit surprised they managed to get away with it in a game like this. It's rated 12, so it kind of makes sense. But I'm not complaining about it. The Order and Chaos factions have parallel versions of the same kind of units, where Order has genies, Chaos has Jinn, which just reminds me of Sonic and the Seven Rings. Order has unicorns, and Chaos has dark unicorns, which is really imaginative naming there, you know. The Chaos factions have Spirit Armor, which always looks slightly off to me. You can clearly see the body they put inside the armour, which kind of takes away some of the effect and the awesomeness. It always annoyed me, but for some reason it's my favourite unit in the game, so I can't complain. You have weak units and stronger units, kind of a rank system going on, but your weakest, lowest level units have the special ability to block the paths of oncoming units, so you can use that to sort of create a blockade. some units can actually create magic, such as your demigod and adepts. They can instantly kill enemies, or buff your own, or regenerate them from the dead, or even create new, unique units. Your strongest unit is the demigod itself, which can become a real god if you beat the story mode for that faction, but I've never been asked, and also it's really quite hard. I like that you have the choice to use magic and all these kind of cheaty techniques, because for a player like me, you really need all the help you can get, because I am always beaten by the AI. That's my problem with the game itself. The AI is cheap as hell. All they do is stun lock you and kill you instantly with mashes of attacks, and you can't block them. But when I watched a game which was an AI player against an AI player, the match was completely fair. They would give time to each other, they would block each other's attacks. So maybe I'm just bad, or maybe the AI is really unfair against me alone. It's something I've seemed to have a really big problem with the game, is the controls just don't seem to work half the time. The computer players can block attacks whilst they're being mashed at, while I can't, so I'm not sure whether I'm doing something wrong, or I just don't know how to do it, but it feels to me like it's actually a control fault. And that's sadly how the battles actually feel. The controls just feel off. It feels like even if you knew what you were doing, it wouldn't work half the time. You have the ability to use heavy attacks and light attacks and magic, and every unit has a unique special ability, which is really interesting. But it will never help you. You try to mix it up, you die. You try to fight cheaply, you die. I mean, I might just do badly because I never had a manual. I got this game from eBay, it never came with a manual, and as a kid I didn't have the manual, so I had no idea what was going on. The battles are mixed up by having different stages. The stage you fight in depends on the type of tile you meet on. Different tiles give different advantages to one or two of the factions, and you'll have different traps and hazards to deal with. They all look quite interesting. The game looks interesting and very appealing to look at. It just doesn't play well. Some of the tiles have buildings on them, such as citadels or temples or these kind of magic things. The temples work kind of like control points. You have to capture them in order to win the match. You constantly fight for them, but that's kind of hard to do. So another way to win is to assassinate the other player's demigod, or in my case, you have your demigod get beaten by a level 1 monster because the AI is horrendously cheap and will always kill me. There's a story to this game and it's kind of cool. It's just the story is irrelevant completely to just playing the game. I always had difficulty playing the story, and so I've never really gone back to it. I know there are kind of missions in it, but I've never really done it. The game has its flaws, but it's still fun to play. You just have to play against a really easy AI, otherwise I will rage and throw the controller. And this is back in the day when controls are wide. So you throw the controller, your console gets launched across the room as well. I don't know any other game like it, which is probably why I actually like the game, despite how it always kicks me in the arse. I mean, Fire Emblem is similar, and I get a similar sort of vibe, but you have an RPG battle system instead of a kind of fighter one. And the hexagonal grids reminds me of Civilization 5, but that's a completely different game. It's a typical issue I have. I like these kind of games. I like strategy games, and I like fighting games. But I'm terrible at both of them. So, the game's really good, and I like it a lot. Just I'm really bad at it. But then again, all this channel has really proven is that I'm terrible at video games. So,